Hey, every time. Hey, everybody. It is April 11th, 2026, and you're listening to the While We Still Can podcast. I'm Lisa. I've got Tina here, and Anthony Andrews is back, our internet sleuth friend who's become our BFF over time. And Tony's had a big week. It's been a big week. Every day we turn on our phone and we're like, wait, what? Excuse me?
I feel the same way. I wake up in the morning and I look at my phone and I'm like, okay, I don't understand what world I
It's
live in right now.
We're
Yeah.
three relatively normal people just making it through the world, paying bills and taking care of stuff. So tell us about your week. What has been going on?
Well, obviously, we've talked about it considerably. The Paolo Zampolli, Amanda Ungaro story. I've been in contact with her for the last several weeks now, directly, and then all of a sudden, Melania just went and dropped a crazy ass bomb
Out of the blue.
out of the blue.
Yeah.
Just decides she needs to tell the world one of the biggest lies we've ever heard, that she had nothing to do
Yeah.
with Epstein or Ghislaine. I mean, there's just it's mind-boggling. Other than the fact that it is very Trumpian. I mean, he literally says, "Don't ever admit to anything. Deny, deny, deny." To the end. And we see that. We've seen it for years from all of them that have been part of this group, which we'll talk about more and have talked about in the past. But, once she kind of did that, it all blew up. And, I talked to Amanda. She went from 30 followers on her Twitter account 3 days ago to now 60,000 because of the attention she's been getting. And this morning I woke up and she had left me some voicemails about just how stressed she is right now. It's very difficult for her to manage this. And, a lot of people think, well, she's a person who was at the White House. She was an ambassador for the UN, and she was in that circle for so long, so she should be used to the spotlight or anything like that. But that's not the case. I mean, she's not a social media savvy person. When she had sent me her original message, a DM on in December, I actually thought it wasn't her. I told you girls this is because it was a brand new account, 0 followers. I've been talking about Zampoli for a while, and all the message is, hey, I've been watching you talk about Paulo, and that was it. And I just assumed it was somebody just trying to catfish me to some extent because we all know my
Happens
history.
all the time.
Yeah.
And so once I realized then several weeks ago when she commented on something I posted that it was her, I was like, oh my God. So then I connected with her. We talked that day, and the history is now set in place, to say the least.
You are in history now. You are literally in history. So
Okay, so in this moment in time, I mean, even people that have never heard these names before know who the First Lady is. So, in your opinion, and with what you're at liberty to share, why do you think First Lady Trump went out and made that statement?
We're waiting for a story to drop this weekend. I keep checking my phone. I think Amanda will probably send it to me as soon as it drops, which is the story she interviewed with El País earlier this week. It's supposed to drop this weekend.
Is that out of Brazil?
No, El País is out of Spain. She's
Okay.
also, she said I believe she's actually traveling to Canada. I'm not 100% sure if she's actually traveling to Canada on Tuesday or not, but she's doing an interview with CBC in Canada on Tuesday as well. I do know that these have been in motion for a while. But the El País interview is the one that's dropping this weekend. And she has indicated that she's sharing more information than she has before on this interview. As you know, I have a lot of information that I can't and have not shared just out of, just courtesy and
Yeah.
confidentiality.
Journalistic integrity, if you will.
And, as I can, I will, just like the Victoria Drake stuff. I was able to talk about a rape victim, a week ago or so. Victoria herself now came out on TikTok and made a huge deal yesterday, and is
yeah,
kind of
she did.
along the same lines as, go ahead.
Yeah. So in the past few episodes, you've touched on Zampoli and his history. Can you tell us a little more about, like, more than what's in the headlines about Amanda?
Sure. Let me finish the first question, though, is with the El País interview that's supposed to drop this weekend. We believe that she discusses her relationship with Melania and her relationship with Melania's parents, which she did talk about in a tweet.
She did.
So we believe that, and when I say we, Becca Day is the other person that's kind of in this,
Okay.
because she's been side by side with Amanda as well, is we believe that they reached out to Melania for a comment. And
Okay, that makes sense.
that prompted the
And Becca Day, she has a huge or a pretty sizable following on on TikTok,
yes,
whereas your following on Twitter is more
is much more
prominent.
considerable than her.
Yeah.
She only has a
And
handful of followers on Twitter.
can you tell everybody again what your Twitter handle is before we go any further?
The name is Anthony Andrews, but the actual at is ANTHON, the number 7, YANDREWS. It's Anthon 7 Yandrews.
Andrews.
Andrews, and it used to be Anthony 7 Andrews, but that was my old nuked account.
Yeah,
Which,
got taken
and
down.
now I this weekend surpassed my old nuked account, and by
That's
the hour
amazing.
I'm getting hundreds of followers. I'm at 32,000 as of right now. So
So between you on Twitter, X, sorry, and Becca on TikTok, this has reached millions of people.
yes, and
That's incredible.
yesterday I found it interesting. I think you guys saw. I shared it with you yesterday. Greg O'Lear wrote a
Yep.
Substack
Yeah.
Yeah.
commented about me, and again, I try to be as humble as possible. I mean, I really am not looking for fame, so to say, or anything like that. I've always
Well,
been about truth and facts, and
sometimes a hyperfixation lines up with the universe, and that's where you're at right now.
That's,
exactly.
So,
I always tell people, I'm like, bitch, you gave an ADAD like, you gave me a fucking handheld computer. And then you're like,
what did you think was gonna happen?
you have everything available. Oh no, babe. Give me 20 minutes. Like, we'll get this hammered out. And that's what Tony does on a daily basis while working full time. So,
So, so yeah, it's been quite a week. So getting back to your other question about Amanda and her story is, it's not, she was not trafficked by Epstein. She told me that specifically. She was not in that trafficking ring. It wasn't part of her life, but she was abused by Paolo Zampolli for multiple years. I just posted this morning that she had already previously shared with Becca Day, and also I believe she did share with me directly, is Jean-Luc Brunel, when they took that infamous flight on the Lolita Express from Paris to the United States, and this was in the O Globo report last week, which discussed it as well in her interview with them. Jean-Luc Brunel was tried to get her to carry cocaine into the United States. He threw I don't know if it was a baggie or a little block of cocaine at her, tried to hand it to her before they were getting off the plane in the United States, and she refused. She was 17, she says, when that happened, when that flight happened, and she says there were 30 other girls on the flight. I've talked about that. You can look up the story. But what she told me, and I shared today, is she actually told me in voicemail this morning that, Paulo had got her kind of hooked on cocaine when they hooked up, and she, had, like with Paulo, has been, doing cocaine for 2 decades, and she's been now clean of it for 5 years. But that's part of this world. I mean, we've all speculated about Don Jr.,
absolutely.
of course, and all these other people, and you even Madison, what's his name,
Cawthorn.
Hawthorne?
cocaine orgies with the GOP. So none of this is a surprise, and it all just adds to that much more credibility.
Well, think about when you're doing, like, I know that we think these people have no shame or whatever, but I cannot truly believe that they started out like that way. Like, things happen to them, and also drugs numb your conscience
Well, and the thing,
or numb the pain. of what happened. And so then you continue doing that and make terrible decisions. And you can make the terrible decisions because you can't feel anything.
Well, and you have to put everything into perspective in terms of, she was discovered at 13 years old in Brazil by,
She never grew up.
yeah. And, by 15, she was traveling to Europe, modeling for elite models. She also told me she was not friends with Casablancas, uh, even though he's the owner of the original elite models. Brazil elite models at that point had already been separated, just like the elite models in the United States that Epstein and Zampoli tried to buy in 2004 that I've written about. I mean, there's so many backstories to all the backstories. But she actually worked for elite models in Brazil, which was connected to all of that. Sorry, I'm a hands talker, you know that.
You're
And
good. No, me too.
and she, so at 15, she was already essentially a supermodel in Europe. And that's when Paolo Zampolli started stalking her, trying to gain her attention. And by 17, he was successful. I call it, a successful stalker.
You get worn down, and then you also get like saying no over and over to powerful people is really hard, especially if you don't have the skills. And at the age of 13 to 17, you do not have these skills, whether you think you're a grown up or not.
Well, and so she, here she was, a 17-year-old girl who'd been manipulated already for several years, likely, and now as an older gentleman making a lot of promises to her about bringing her to the United States and making her, an exceptional model or whatever else. And
He was
so
probably
then,
very charming.
yeah, oh, absolutely, initially,
Nope.
probably.
Yeah, sorry, I hit the button.
You said he's
Mo-
charming.
yeah, nobody's really all bad or all good, So, in hindsight, when we're thinking about him from a particular perspective, it might look like one thing, but I'm sure in the moment he was probably a charming person that could open doors for her, and what young woman wouldn't find that somewhat appealing.
Well, again, I mean, you look at him now, and he's a washed-out cocaine addict. But he was a handsome young man back in the 80s and 90s, and he was extremely wealthy. I mean, he was only 18 in 1988. So, you're looking at, and that's when he got into the industry because of John Casablancas being his friend, and Silvio Berlusconi, the former prime minister of Italy, and then he was also friends with Flavio Briatore, who, let's just bring up the fact that his daughter that he has with Heidi Klum
Oh, that was the disgusting photos.
just
Oh,
posted a picture the other day of both of them in lingerie, mom and daughter in lingerie. So you have to understand that circle of things as well.
Well, I mean, to play devil's advocate, in a way, that's their family business.
Yes.
They're selling lingerie.
but that's
Yes.
also as a dad, like
Wait,
I
okay,
you
I haven't seen the pictures, so what did it
no,
look?
I'm just saying I would not be encouraging. It would I just
Sure,
think it would be weird to be encouraging to see your be like, "Oh yeah, go make money sexualizing yourself in front of men."
sure. Yeah, I
And
mean, I'm
they're
not saying
adult. I
it's
mean,
not
she's an
weird, but
adult.
I know. But yes. So
But
these
yeah,
people aren't normal is what we're saying.
and you have to understand their history as well. I mean, she went through the whole. Heidi Klum has been in that industry since she was young as well.
She's been groomed.
She had been groomed as well. I mean, there's so much to it that eventually we'll learn so much more than everything. So then, Amanda then was brought into the United States, like I said, at 17, with all these promises from Paolo. He my understanding, and I'm still trying to piece together some of the information I have, was kind of stringing her along about how he was going to help her immigrate to the United States. And the easiest way, by the time they were together, and they were official, was through these ambassadorships. And I'm investigating that, and I talked a little bit about that. There appears to be a pay-for-play UN ambassadorship program going on in the entire Caribbean in terms of the islands of the Caribbean. Paolo was a UN ambassador for the small island nation of Dominica. And at the same time, Amanda was a UN ambassador for the small island nation of Grenada. Uh,
Okay.
and I read into what was going on in Dominica, and it's well known and documented that there was a scandal involving the UN passports so about 6 years ago, and they even changed their laws because of it. But
Interesting.
this UN passport thing, Amanda had this UN passport, and I have information that she shared with me that shows Paulo kind of stringing her along, saying, well, we'll take care of that other stuff later. Let's do this, let's do that. And even documentation from 2018 that she shared with me that shows that he agreed to help her get her immigration status in order, and then
Right.
he failed to do so. Uh,
I see.
so, and that was the leverage he used when he went to ICE, or not to ICE, when he went to his pals in the White House, where he has now a special envoy position with the Trump administration. And as you all know, he literally was getting off the plane in a picture with JD Vance and Usha Vance in
Right. Just
Hungary a
last week.
few days ago. I mean, this is how
Yeah.
connected all of this is to the true world and what's going on literally right now.
Right.
And he's staying out of the country for a reason, from what I understand. I don't know the full backstory behind all of this, but he's been out of the country for the reason. His son is with him, and I don't think his son has been. His son goes to a boarding school they send him to, and I don't want to jump all over the place, but I just posted something this morning about the video that Amanda had sent me showing where Paulo had called the police on his son in New York on Memorial Day weekend in 2024, and his son was packed and ready to go to boarding school, and then there was this ruckus with the police and everything else and Paulo got into an altercation with this then 13-year-old son.
Oh, wow. What
Yeah,
a chaotic way to grow up.
exactly. So, this paints a picture of everything that's been going on. Paulo had not been faithful, obviously, throughout their relationship. I have indications that he had also, I'm trying to think of the best words to use. He had also abused a 15-year-old woman at their home in New York.
Girl.
15-year-old child. I
Hmm. It's
definitely
okay. It's hard. It's hard. It's
15-year-old
yeah.
child at
Yes.
his Gramercy Place home at some point when Amanda was there. He liked to throw these lavish parties, which we're all very familiar with. That's what
Right.
the Kit Kat Club party that the whole story right now about Melania meeting Trump was at a Paolo Zampolli party at the Kit Kat Club in New York City, and he's known for
Hmm.
throwing these lavish parties, which there's a lot of cocaine involved, and he was doing this at his home, which apparently he did a lot. He threw these big parties at his home, and he was with Amanda there. She separated herself because she got tired of that lifestyle. She really wanted to live a normal life, and Paulo wasn't
Right.
having any of it. And with their child there too, I think Amanda and the child were elsewhere. He abused this young woman, was trying to abuse this young child, and during this party, and Amanda was having none of it and kind of shut the party down. That's
I
from what
see.
I understand. There's more details to it. Obviously, I don't want to go into so much about it. And then, of course, we have the rape that occurred in October 2023, as now stated openly by Victoria Drake, which she is going to talk about openly too on her TikTok. So, you know,
So at this point, those are allegations,
yes, those are all
correct?
allegations, but there are documented. I understand that there is a police report that was filed. I understand that back in 2023 when that happened, Victoria said in her TikTok something about the FBI being called by Paolo,
Hmm.
accused them of stuff they weren't doing. So I'm not familiar with the FBI part of it. I just know the context of there was this alleged rape that occurred, and I posted the picture this morning that shows Victoria having taken a selfie, I believe, in the elevator of Zampoli's home, because I think, a 5-story home in New York City. It's called Gramercy Place. It's his diplomatic home, and
That we're paying for, I
he
guarantee.
has like diplomatic flags outside the home too. So there's a picture of her where she was leaving, and she actually, and I have texts that I've seen that she shared with that Amanda that she shared with Amanda that Amanda shared with me. Again, this is stuff that I can't really tell you great detail about until I'm given permission from them. But yeah, there's definitely some factual evidence to be shown to the world backing all of this up.
And I want to point out, we have to continue to say allegations because, innocent until proven guilty. But the problem that we're having is if there is no investigation because it is stopped, railroaded, or the judicial branch refuses because it's captured to investigate, prosecute any of it, then there's no justice again. So that's what we keep seeing is people on one side trying to defend it as like it's just an allegation. You can't say he did that. Okay, how many dangerous people are running around now with credible allegations that just aren't investigated because the bad guys are in charge? The system working how it's supposed to. So I'm just saying, like, I know we're just at a crossroads with that. And I know that, but when this many people come forward about certain people, there's a pattern, okay? There's a clear pattern that these people are predators. So continue. Sorry.
So maybe if this system is dismantled and we can replace it with something new, we can actually have a justice system that doesn't let rich, connected people always slide through the cracks and get away.
Absolutely, and we've talked about it from literally the first show we've done together. I mean, we understand the gravity of the situation, regardless of what the story we're talking about today. It really comes down to the fact that, as Americans, we need to recreate our nation in our form, in the we the people form. And right now, that's not what's happening. Is we've got a bunch of rich criminals that are controlling things, and they're evading justice in much deeper ways than anybody understands.
And then they're using technology to mentally mindfuck us about it. And then we have Melania Trump coming on the news, clearly lying as there are photos of her and him, and clearly stating, do not believe what you're seeing with your own eyes. And we've read books about this. So
the other thing, let me talk about Melania a little bit, is I got a text. I got somebody that follows me that was telling me this morning, and they were in my comments, that they know Melania and blah, blah, blah. And they started to sound a little kooky, though, but they were defending Melania. They were saying they were part of this whole group that were trafficked as well. But then and I finally was like, okay, you're full of shit. Because she posted something about Melania having gone to an American architecture school that was paid for by Donald Trump, and she has an actual degree, because she was trying to debunk all of my stuff about her visa and everything else. She was saying, no, Melania was here okay, and I'm like, okay, you're full of crap. And I finally
okay, Melania.
So
that's what they be calling her.
It might be a sock puppet account for Melania talking to me.
Right, absolutely.
But it was based in Egypt when I looked at their... So, who the hell knows? Wouldn't be the first time a sock puppet came after me.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see what comes out in the next week or two that has prompted her to do that. Like, what specific information is in that interview?
Exactly. And I think the thing is it's probably not going to be as sensational as most people think. I think it just could have been easily stuff that we kind of already know, but Amanda's kind of putting it out there and put it into, this interview. They reached out to Melania. Melania freaked out. Deny. Obviously, with the stuff that I've written, it's blown up tremendously just over the last couple of days because of Melania and because of Amanda. And we've got, the other stuff that's really blowing up, and I don't even know what to say is the Brina and Knauss stuff. I mean, I'm just like, everybody's like, holy shit, and no one is debunking it. That's the whole thing, is I'm getting so much attention for this. And, that came back to what you were asking me about when I searched Paolo the first time.
Right.
Which was when I finally, something popped in my head and say, let me check out this Zampoli guy. Yeah. and I put him into the
This
inner.
character.
Yeah,
Let's
the third thing.
pull some strings here.
Yeah, the third thing that popped up on Google was a picture of Brina Knauss, and I'm like, well, why the heck is this girl popping up? And she's got the same name as Melania's last name,
And she looks like
um,
fucking
and she
Melania.
looks like Melania. Plus, she's from Slovenia, and she's connected to Paolo Zampolli. So then I started jumping down that rabbit hole and did some serious investigating. And that's when I also came across what you asked me about before the call, which is this possible mysterious son whose name was Lorenz. So in 2005, Jana, Jana magazine in Slovenia, which is one of their, I think it's like a fashion, it's like a People or a Time, uh, wrote a story that disappeared in 48 hours. Uh, and this was according to a news article that I found online, that disappeared in 48 hours. And it said that Melania had a child that was born in 1991, and his name was Lorenz. Now, as I've attempted to research, and you know me, I'm pretty good at digging, I found nothing other than that one article. But that article also says, like I said, it disappeared in 48 hours, and it also says something about $2 million being paid to somebody or the magazine to shut the story up or something, which is a classic catch and kill that we're also aware of when it.
Right.
The only thing that doesn't quite align is, they're tying Trump to that payment, which supposedly was, well, I guess that would have been in 2005. So yeah, I think he just shut down the story. But
Right.
but there was nothing that ever came from, in terms of investigation into who this child was
Look,
or possibly was. But this child now would be, 35 now.
find Lorenz. Hashtag.
Yeah.
Where's Lorenz?
And then, with Brina, of course, everybody's
How
like,
old is Brina supposed to
Brina's 41.
alleged to be?
Yeah.
She's only 21.
No, she's 41.
Oh, she's 41.
Yeah, Brina's 41. She's the same age as Amanda. And Amanda did, I mentioned this before, Amanda met Brina in Europe, I think in Paris, because they were both, I think, doing the modeling
At a
stuff.
party or yeah.
Parties. Oh, no, it was at one of the parties. I'm sorry. I forget which picture it was, but there's two pictures I had posted in my original thread about Zampoli. One was a picture of Zampoli with
And Brina.
Brina that Brina
Yeah.
posted on her Instagram, I think in 2016. And then another one was Zampoli with Brina that Zampoli posted on his Instagram in 2019. And at one of those events, uh, Amanda was there.
Okay.
Yeah, she was and that's when I think she said she met Brina, and she says Brina's a sweet girl. I asked her what she knew about Brina, and she said she knew nothing about her background. They had just met at that event, and that event was a DJing event, so it wasn't even necessarily a modeling type of event. So sometimes it's hard for me to keep this shit straight in my own head, just because of the amount of stuff going on.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot going on.
so
So, did we ever find parents for Brina?
yes, I found two people that don't look like her whatsoever, uh, that she's posted about here and there. It was really hard. I found also some pictures of a supposed brother. Again, they seem set up pretty good. The whole thing about Brina is the amount of coincidences, the fact that she just kind of landed onto the scene of being a well-known famous person in Slovenia at 16 years old. She was on the Slovenian national basketball team at 16. Then at 18, she was on their version of American Idol or something with this girl group called BBT. And then after a few years after that, she decided to go into modeling, and she went to work for ID Models, which was Paolo Zampolli. So obviously, there's that connection where Paulo had her as modeling, but you have to really look at the connections of the last name, the birth year, where she was born, the lack of information that's available for her prior to 16 years old. There's really nothing. And what I've understood, and I actually read it somewhere, someone else had posted or written an article and said that she was likely given to other family members and raised by them.
So, can I give you my theory?
Sure.
Okay, so the more we learn about how society is actually set up, or at least how I have, it's basically these families that bloodlines, whatever you want to call them, but these moneyed families that generationally place children, whether it's their children or a children from the same bloodline or family cult group, that and then they groom them to become these high figures because they can control their power again.
Oh,
And so it starts literally when they're born,
well, and I
and
think,
they build them into a powerful person that they can control, is
well,
what I'm learning.
and I agree 100%. I don't. I think we can easily make that very factual just by pointing out the any movie you've watched about the Russian Empire or Catherine the Great or anybody else and all these illegitimate children and all this other stuff that was going on during that time and how these illegitimate children were groomed into different roles. I mean, this is stuff that's happened literally for centuries with the richest people in the world, primarily through royalty. And and we know royalty's involved in all of this Epstein stuff and genetics and DNA, and I mean, that's for another show, but
Yeah,
there's so much. I mean, it all does make a whole lot of sense when you actually
absolutely.
look at it. And so Brina, she came out of nowhere, and she lives a very well-to-do lifestyle. She's in the United States often, so she must have some pull in terms of her ability to travel the world. She's done gigs in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. She does gigs in all the largest venues in the
And
world.
it's hard to become a fucking DJ, a famous DJ. Everybody wants, that's like trying to become a famous podcaster. Yeah. And honestly, I've been, I go down my rabbit holes, and just the amount of survivor testimony from these types of families that I have listened to, they literally will cultivate the gifts of the children during the grooming process, and will mind fuck them so bad and tell them if they don't go along with what they're doing, then they don't get to do any of the things they're good at, such as their musical creativity stuff.
I'm going to step away for 47 seconds. I
Okay.
just got a voicemail from Amanda. So give me just 1 second, okay? Did you see Paulo call into that podcast yesterday?
No.
I'll tell you about that when I come back too.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
The poor woman. I mean, she's having a very difficult time right now, just because of the amount of negative information she's getting on her Twitter account. And as I've tried to explain, I've gotten a lot of messages this morning about the post she did about money, pay me or something. And I understand how people look at that. And we're all very versed and familiar with Twitter, and how people like to attack everything. And obviously,
Everything.
Yeah.
with her mentioning something like that, it just opened a door for, a number of people to question her motives and really jump into there. And it's really, really having a negative effect on her right now. And I just told her, put your phone down.
You have
Yeah.
to.
Step away.
And she's in Brazil. She's right near the beach. Just go to the beach, do something you enjoy
Right.
doing, and just separate and don't pay attention to what all of these people are saying. She also just told me she is actually doing an interview with CNN on Monday. That this is brand new news, exclusive. So you guys
Yeah.
you hear it.
Good.
Post this as soon as you get the edited, Tina.
Yes, yes, I'll do it today. I promise I'll do it today.
So
Dropping hot off the press.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure the next, hype, like 15 minutes, if you will, is going to be wild for her.
and that's really kind of where she's at right now. Is she just doesn't understand all the negativity, because she's just been doing interviews. She's been trying to do the right thing and share information. She put one thing out there, and that's what she's frustrated with. She put one thing out there, and people are responding very negatively to it. But it was
Well, and that's going to be the case on any social media app. But X is the worst.
Oh, X is the absolute worst. We know that.
Yeah, just
Well,
horrible.
and maybe if we could, tell her if we've learned anything from this administration, it is that any attention is good attention.
Hmm.
So, maybe that could give her a little peace of mind like, hey, we I totally understand that this is very hard to read and such, but it's something that's getting shared. Someone else is reading your story, whether it's in a negative light or a positive light. You're going to that is one more person that read about this story and knows who Zamboni's name. Okay, I'm calling him Zamboni.
And
I
the
got a
more
new
that
name for him every episode. Okay.
the more she's out there, hopefully the safer she is too, because for her physical safety. If everybody in the world knows what's going on in her life, then should she have something untoward happen to her, then it'd be more suspicious than if no one knew.
Absolutely.
And I just need her to know that if the president of the United States can literally be in the Epstein files over 1,000,000 times and say on air that he can grab anybody by the pussy, nothing she says is going to be consequential negatively long term. Okay? If we have learned anything, it's also that.
Well, I'm going to also announce here that I plan on grabbing Trump by the pussy on Monday morning.
He's got a big old fucking
Please
pussy.
wear latex gloves.
Yeah.
Ah!
And it's going to be with Billy Bush.
Oh,
And
Billy
the circle
Butt.
closes.
Yeah. That's so exciting. So tell us about some of the interviews you have coming up. Promote. Like and subscribe.
It is. I've been navigating a lot of stuff the last few days because of the attention that this has all been getting. I'm primarily on X, but I'm involved in a Signal group that you're well aware of. Is going through the Epstein files, and we've got a number of high-profile people in there, including some journalists. One of the people there asked if they could give my information to People Magazine, because People Magazine wants to talk to me about this as well. And then I had gotten reached out. I think it was on X from a journalist from Telegraph as well. That was yesterday, and then. Journalist from MSNBC, which is now MS Now, reached out to me yesterday as well, wanting to get a hold of Amanda. But I'm kind of helping navigate as well, just telling them she's not
Right.
anything with anybody right now, because a lot of people want to do podcasts with her. Tomorrow I'm doing another podcast with the Young Jerks. Who are out of Massachusetts, and I talked to them a little more extensively now, knowing I'll be comfortable on that show. They're primarily a woman-based podcast, and they have a male host who's very big supporter of women and their causes. So I look forward to talking
That's awesome.
tomorrow. And then there's who knows, especially with this El País stuff, once that drops, what else is going to come up. I've also had contact with the Daily Beast, and I can't even remember them all. But primarily the U.S. media, I'm not as ready to jump into, but
Absolutely.
it being
I
Billy
don't blame
Bush,
you.
the platform he has, I think it's a necessary evil. I had put it out there asking, my friends like you, what do you think about me doing this? And many people have said, yes, go ahead and do it. And Jackie Singh was one of them that told me, and she's very prominent in a lot of this stuff too. We're both working on something that I'm going to talk to her about today that is completely separate. You guys know what it is.
But hey, Allison.
Allison.
Hey, girl.
Nobody talks about Gino.
Nobody talks about.
We
When
don't
we talk
talk
about
about
Allison.
Gino. We don't talk about
Breaks into song.
Gino.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it sounds like you're making waves. Our ADHD hyperfocus is fine. Like, this is your moment,
It's your
man.
time
And yeah, it's been so fun getting to know people in this terrible time.
Yeah.
I have truly enjoyed this portion of it. And so hopefully we're helping, you know?
Well, and that's exactly, we've said from the beginning, that's all we're trying to do is share truth in a digestible way for people. And,
Right.
now that people are finally digging into some of the stuff that I've written, it's amazing the eyes that are opening. I mean, I literally had somebody yesterday tell me, I'm so glad I found you. I've been so conned by Trump for so many years. And once they
Yay!
started reading through my stuff, they're like, oh my God, this all makes so much more sense now. And that's all I've ever wanted was,
Well, and we've talked about it. It's one seed, one crack.
Just
And
doing what we can.
dude, there are so many people walking around with a fucking crack right now. You get in that crack. You get not the butt crack, you get in the other crack.
well, the greatest thing about it is it's so easy when you're just talking about truth.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I
There's
don't,
no
And
story to keep straight when you're just telling the truth.
you can't debunk the truth. You can come at me as much as you want, but everything I put out there is
Right.
verifiable fact for the most part, or I've painted a very clear picture using public information. And, and
yeah, and if you can come up with a better story that makes more sense, I am all ears. But y'all are coming to me with nothing.
yeah.
You're coming to me with Melania on a stage saying that she didn't fuck Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. When, yeah, babe, we all know, like, it's okay. You're a homie hopper. We're
Well,
fine
this
with
morning-
it. Just whatever.
I saw on TikTok that there was a book published, and I'm sorry I don't remember the title or dates or anything, but it did have a paragraph that Jeffrey Epstein had stated that he was with her on a plane, not the plane, but a plane, before like she was with Trump. However, that book, like I think they said there were 60,000 copies made, and then they had a different edition that does not include that paragraph anymore. But I mean, unless it was fabricated somehow, he was showing the actual book with
Well,
the actual paragraph.
to give everybody just another context to understand how likely true this is, they pulled the couch story out of J.D. Vance's biography.
Yeah, that's true. They did.
I mean, it's verifiable fact. They pulled the couch story out of J.D. Vance's book. So,
Oh my God, our vice president fucked a couch. Okay, this is too much for me.
We're in such a strange place in life right now.
And Gerald's real. The
Oh,
aliens
Gerald.
came on Easter,
I love to
and
talk about Gerald. It's so
I
good.
do too. Yeah.
so yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's easy. We've talked about it a lot. We understand a lot of this stuff, but we also have to remember a lot of this information is new to so many people. I mean, I gained
Absolutely.
5,000 followers in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's
Most people have never heard these names at all.
And and I've always been one to repeat things from the get-go just because people need to understand from the beginning. So I'm constantly referring to just go read my shit, read my stuff because it fills in a lot of blanks, and I am truly the receipt king.
Yes, you want to go through Tony's screenshots.
Yes.
It's a life story. We should actually make a whole flip book out of them.
Yeah, I have like 50,000 screenshots in my phone.
No. And that's actually why we're kindred spirits, because you can tell my whole life by my screenshots and my notes section of my phone. But okay, so we're coming up to about 45 minutes. I know that we all got some stuff to do this afternoon, but Tony, thank you so much for coming on.
It's been awesome, and I always
Everybody go to X and check out Tony's feed.
I'll link him. I'm going to link
Yeah.
Becca down at the bottom. I'll actually try to grab that O Globo report too and see if I can put it down there so people can start reading and catch those interviews that are coming up. This is going to be a story to follow, and Tony is our breaking guy.
You're my gals.
Hey, we're the hags. Okay.
Are we allowed
All right,
to say
gu-
that? I don't think we need.
No.
I feel. Yeah.
I think, again, our president said grab them by the pussy. I think we're fine. I really do.
Okay, if you say so.
Okay. Well, Tony, is it okay? Is it okay?
Our president said praise Allah on Easter Sunday, so shut the fuck
Oh yeah, we're wiping out whole civilizations. We're the fag hags. It's fine.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
good.
Well, when you
Yeah,
put it
we're
in
good.
perspective like that.
Thank you. I can do that. I'm very
Thank
good at that.
you.
Okay, guys. Well, have a great afternoon. Good luck on your interviews, Tony. We'll see you very soon.
Thanks.
See y'all back. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.